What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. We've spoken about immigration a lot on this channel. I've spoken a lot about Alberta independence and provinces needing to become independent. Part of the problem we're now facing is an invasion. We've talked about this before. Canada, whether you like it or not, folks, is being invaded. Our governments have left the doors open. We have asylum seekers pouring into this country. We have temporary foreign workers pouring into this country, demanding that they're allowed to stay because they've bought property or they just want to keep taking advantage of our system, be fast-tracked for citizenship. And all of it stems, folks, whether people want to face fact or not, because they're able to get on citizenship tracks very quickly in this country. And again, politicians like the votes. Keep in mind that when these folks come over to our countries, ladies and gentlemen, it's not, they don't know anything about our politics. They don't know anything about how our politics work, a liberal, conservative, anything. What they will vote for, or who they will vote for, is whoever got them their citizenship the fastest, whoever allowed them into the country, or whoever they're told to vote for by those that they associate with. Independence needs to happen in provinces if they ever want to close their door and leave real opportunities for those in this country that have worked their butts off, even landed migrants who actually want to contribute to our system, who want jobs, who want to pay their taxes, who want to live the Canadian dream. Opportunities are being squandered. In fact, I've seen message boards in and around where I live of people saying, I can't find a job anywhere because of DEI hires. Keep in mind that when these offices hire DEI, it's not because they feel good or they want to virtue signal that they're hiring people of a different ethnicity other than white. The reason they're doing it are the kickbacks that they get from the government. For example, a job like McDonald's that pays minimum wage, you'll see a lot of people from other countries will say, go and apply for jobs there. And if they're a DEI hire, well, McDonald's loves them because instead of paying them $15 an hour, they only have to pay them about $8 or $9, and the government subsidizes them for the rest. So the company gets to charge you, the consumer, top dollar for buying their product. They get to pay their employees less, and they get to count the profits all the way to the bank. The government system is broken, and until that is fixed to make hiring opportunities equal for Canadians, you're never going to see an end to the high cost of housing, the high cost of living, the high cost of food, utilities, etc. Even available land to build on. Take a look at this information coming from Table Salt. Really good account to follow. Major breaking: Canadian refugee backlogs surged to all-time highs. 287,786 people are now waiting for a hearing. Also, almost 10,000 Indian nationals have claimed asylum so far in 2025. More than any other nation. India is a democracy. This is broken. So asylum usually is if you come from a war-torn country. If you come from somewhere that you'll possibly be sentenced to death if you go home or live in squalor, under persecution. In Canada, it's just, well, I couldn't get in the legal way, so I'm seeking asylum. I've crossed your borders illegally. I want to stay. You can see the statistics down here being offered by Table Salt, backing up his claim. You've got guys like the pleb down here saying reject every single application and backlog problem. It magically goes away. Keep in mind, nobody can see a doctor in this country or get anything done because of the backup of Indian migrants in particular. But it's not just Table Salt who's coming out and saying it. Pierre Poilievre's on that track as well. Shout out to Pierre for, again, saying the quiet part out loud. The Carney Liberals said they would cap temporary foreign workers at 82,000 for all of 2025. Only halfway through the year, it's already 105,000, while our youth employment is at a 27-year low. Again, people can't get jobs because of DEI hires. Prime Minister Mark Carney is depriving a generation of young people of wages and jobs. He promised change. Instead, he's worse. Only Conservatives will put Canada workers first. Again, it's an ad for the Conservatives. But look at this. 2025 temporary foreign worker target, 82,000. Temporary foreign workers issued in the first 6 months, 105. So if that was 210 by the end of the year, that's more than double what the projected target was going to be. How does this benefit Canada? It benefits those coming here, but it just makes us poor. Pierre also goes out to tweet, new data just outshows Liberals are also on track to overshoot their already high targets for new permanent residents of 395,000 for 2025, with 207,000 issued so far as of June 30th. So again, halfway through the year, we're already at 207,000. We're going to overshoot 395 by a landslide by the end of the year. Isn't this sad that this is where we are as a country? And for anybody saying, hey, Fringe, you're a racist. Nobody really says that, but because people say it's facts. And it is facts. In fact, let's take a look at some more facts. One from a good old Ryan Garrettson. I've shown this little video multiple times, but it's good for a refresher sometimes. When I say we're being invaded, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is replacement migration. We've seen our trucking industry be overcome by this. We've seen our businesses overrun by this. Temporary part-time jobs for our youth, as Pierre says, overrun by those who want to take advantage of our system. I've shown videos on this channel of Indian migrants saying, go to Canada, you get all these benefits. They talk about $80-something thousand a year to sit around and do nothing, while the average Canadian makes $60,000 and has to pay taxes on that, by the way. I think it's way less than $60,000 a year the average Canadian makes. But here's the total percent of the white population in 1971. Let's go through this one again. Let me try and arrange it so you can see the entire country. Well, that's where we'll see the numbers anyways. 1971. 93, 95, 94, 92, 96, 97, 99, 99, 99, 98. Across the country. Now, of course, the percentage of white population is lower in the in Nunavut, Northwest Territories. That's normal. But let's take a look at how it goes as time goes on. Here's 1996. Now, 25 years later, it's still relatively where it used to be, although BC has gone down from the 90s down to 78. Again, not a huge difference. The East has, however, stayed about where it needs to, where it was before. Keep your eye on the East when this is all said and done, because this is going to show how Ontario, as well as every province west of Quebec, is essentially a dumping ground for new migrants, and how it's going to ravage our country as time goes on. Take a look at this. There's 1996, 2001. Again, those numbers changing a little bit. 2006, okay, a little more. 2011, 2016. Oh, it's dropping a bit, folks. 2021. Here's 2026 projection. Keep in mind, the eastern provinces have only dipped about 10% from 1971 all the way to 2026. Look at it across Canada. If that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, and say, for anybody who says you're racist for saying this is an invasion, what is it Ryan Garrettson says? Replacement migration. That's the easiest way to say it, so you're not a racist. By the way, give Ryan Garrettson a follow on Twitter if you haven't yet. Great account. Tell him Fringe sent you, by the way. But look at BC, 53. Alberta, 53. Saskatchewan, 58. Manitoba, 50. 50. Ontario, 54. They're all being dumped from Ontario across the country to take everyone's jobs, to take everybody's opportunities, to take everybody's homes, to drive illegally, to protest in our streets and block traffic. Why? Well, what you're seeing here, aside from Quebec, is how the government gets their votes. And I've said this time and time again. Citizenship gets fast-tracked, the votes pour in, and they vote for whoever they're told to, or whoever got them into the country. This is why provinces need to separate. This is why not just Alberta needs to go, but any province that's west of Quebec should be clawing their way away from Confederation at this point, unless our government wants to start deporting about, 5 or 6 million people out of the country, unless our government wants to clean up their act and say no more, we're going to start looking after Canadians first. I did another video on the channel showing another $2 billion going to Ukraine, more money being laundered out of this country while those of us are suffering. Our youth can't get jobs. What do you think this country is going to look like in 30 years if any of us are still here? How do you think our children, your grandchildren, your children's children's children will fare when they're all living in the same house because they can't get an apartment, because they can't even get a job? We'll all be living in tents, while those who come to this country and get handouts from its government will be reaping all of the benefits. This country needs an enema, big time. At least that's what I think. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, let me know your shout out down below. I hope it's earned a subscription and you enjoyed the content. Make sure to leave a thumbs up or a comment or both, even preferential, down below. It helps push these kind of videos out. YouTube censors them all the time. They don't like people getting this kind of information, obviously. They say it's racist and terrible. So give it a thumbs up and a comment. Share it out on social media. Let me know if you think we're being invaded, folks. Join me live here on the channel. Now, twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays for Unhinged Fringe on Wednesdays, Friday Night Fringe on Fridays, as I'm joined by a plethora of new co-hosts as well as the beautiful Mrs. Fringe on Friday, talking about everything that's happening this week in politics, everything we know coming up in the week ahead, as well as your Q&A outside of making these videos within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. I always look forward to hearing what you guys have to say in those live streams. I most importantly look forward to hearing what you have to say this week, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, every Wednesday and Friday here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.